I showed you the Ivan thing. You saw the crypto Artie asking Bitboy?
Yeah, and that's that. Did you see my response videos this morning? I went on a bit of a tangent.
Oh wait, so should we just play it and then play your response, or we could just hear your response? But this was very interesting because Ivan, we knew he's been talking about it on his show. Bitboy refused to talk about it on the show, and then Bitboy, you know what, in a private meeting, tells everyone that he's loading up. Like, let's just play it so you can hear it from the horse's mouth.
What's up, man? Thoughts on the world's biggest airdrop, Pulsechain, and the amazing ecosystem that Richard Hart, my boy, founded.
It's funny, we got somebody asked us every single one. Did y'all plant plants everywhere?
We're seated nice and well.
I like Richard. You guys know this. I do like Richard personally. I've always said this, and I will continue to say it. Like, I just don't really understand the way that HEX works and operates. And
crypto expert doesn't understand how inflation's paid out. Okay.
What I will tell you is this:
3 years uptime, 100%, no admin keys, pure DeFi.
It's true. I mean, all the stuff you're saying is correct. I guess the question you get into is, you know the questions. You know the questions. Where did the ETH go? Who's got the ETH? What's he using? Now,
could you answer that question real quick before we go on? What is he referring to? Just because a lot of people don't understand it and the answer.
So what happened is people got mad because Richard was making a lot of money and they wanted to know what he wanted to do with his money, because that's what you ask, right? You know, when you trade your thing in for something that you want, you got to ask what the cashier is going to do with that money after you buy your hamburger.
You're referring to the adoption amplifier, right?
Yeah, the adoption amplifier. Yep. So anybody that put in money in the adoption amplifier made 100-fold their money. No victims, no complaints, no problem. The only people that are mad is the fact that people put money in the adoption amplifier and Richard got that money, right? So they don't like that. They didn't like the market matching scenario because people like Knightley were buying up all the HEX prices and then selling it dumping it on the market on everybody else's HEX. So what happened later, there was market matching where at the end of the day, when everybody had already put in all their money, at the end of the day, the whale would come in and match it to the market. So that the ratio was equal to the price. So if you were to sell it, you would not be getting more than the price that you paid, right? So you were no longer incentivized to dump it on the market, which actually protected everybody. And you know what? Companies do that shit all the time, right? So if you have a distributorship with me, you cannot sell my product for less than 10% on a sale, or you're not my distributor. Okay? Companies do that shit all the time. So that's not uncommon. Companies buy their stocks back all the time to create value, right? This is normal behavior. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it into something unscrupulous by look, he could have just set a flat price and he could have just said, you know, it's 30 cents a hex. Well, you would have been overpaying for it then, wouldn't you? Because it's still not 30 cents today, is it? So how do you determine something like that? You try to do it in the most fair distribution method that you possibly can, and you prevent players that are abusing the system and abusing their deal and abusing everybody else by just turning around and devaluing it on the market regularly. That's what you do. So there was a bit of market matching. But the where does the ETH go thing, that's silly because plain and simple, you know, if you trade your Ethereum on a centralized exchange, where does it go? If you trade it on Uniswap, where does it go? If you buy anything in the world, do you have a right to ask what they're going to do with the money after you make that purchase? Or are you just happy that you look, if you get a pizza, right? And you chip in with your buddies on a pizza, and according to the amount of money that you put in, you get the larger slice of pizza. Do you eat the pizza and then say, where's my money? This is absolutely ridiculous, right? You got what you paid for. Yeah, everyone got what they paid for. Yeah. Nobody expected anything else out of it. The only people that are salty about it are the people that didn't understand, didn't take advantage of the opportunity that was put before them, and they lost out big. because they didn't get it and they didn't trust it. And the people that ran around and said, where's the ETH? Where's the ETH go? And creating this unfounded, ridiculous question cost people 100x, a minimum of 100x plus yield, because when the AA was running, HEX was sub-cent. HEX was sub-cent. And Knightley actually perpetuated where's the ETH go. And you know why? Because he wanted the ETH to go in his wallet. And that's why he made his own coin. And that's actually where that started, was with our good friend Knightley.
Yeah, well, there you go. And it's just interesting. And I don't want to be too hard on Bitboy because he's one of the more benevolent mainstream people to Richard Hart. But this guy calls himself like the XRP general. And XRP unlocks 1 billion tokens a month and dumps it. We know where it goes. On your head, yep. It goes on your head. And like, there's no concerns about that. But a founder making a lot of money and holding a lot of ETH, which he can't even dump and destroy the HEX price. Why? Like, all of a sudden, like, when it comes to like HEX, it's like, you know, their hands on their hips, like, what about this? What about that? And like, you look at every other crypto, like, they just get a pass because they're talking about
the comedy here is name a founder that doesn't dump on their followers' heads, or name an influencer that doesn't dump on their followers' heads.
Yeah, Gala Games, they're like they get like hundreds of thousands of tokens or whatever, like unlocked, dumped every day. Algo Foundation, people love Algo, and it may even be a good blockchain, but they dump on your head every day. Like, that's why it only did a 40x. Like, it's ridiculous. But like, all of a sudden, like HEX, which doesn't, you have all the questions. But
it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious, right? And there is not a founder that does not dump on your head, other than provably on chain. The OA's never sold a HEX on the market.
OA and Satoshi, that's it.
OA and Satoshi sold on your heads too.
Oh, he did?
In the first couple of years, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where do you think the coins came from? If Satoshi never sold a coin, who would get the coins?
Oh, that's true.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, there was mining, but of course there had to be distribution of those coins, right? Or he gave them to people that sold them on your head. Any way you want to look at it, when you start off with something that you invent, you start out with the majority of those things. You're the only person that was originally making them.
Yep.
You know, if you know, how many of my products are on the market? Well, they all started from me. You know, nobody else has them unless they got them from me first. You know, this concept is absolutely insane. Everything has to start from somewhere. And you can argue about whether or not you like the distribution method, but whether you like the AA distribution method or not, guess what? Anybody that put any coins in the AA whatsoever is in profit. Even at the lowest of lows, we're up 100x. So you traded your ETH for something else that went up in value more, 100-fold. And who's going to complain about that? Where are the victims? Show me the victims. The only victims are people like Knightley that wanted to get away with selling on everybody else's head and wrecking the project. And they got mad and they went and made their own coin, and they made their own system where they were in control and putting themselves at the top of the food chain because they were unhappy that someone like Richard was so successful.
Yeah.
And he thought he could easily replicate that, and he was wrong.
You can't possibly replicate it unless you're a billionaire. So I guess
no, you have to be in a position where you don't need to sell, right? You have to be in a position where it's more important to you to own things. Look at his diamond. Is he going to sell his diamond? No. He bought it for bragging rights. What the hell do you people think HEX is? HEX is his bragging right. It's his baby. It's there to show everybody forever. It doesn't do him a damn bit of good if he goes down in history as a failure now, does it? Yeah. Of course not. He wants to be able to point at that every time he goes by and point at it and go, yep, that's me. He wants to see it everywhere so he can point at it and go, yep, I made that. I did that. I'm proud. You know who doesn't do that? Anonymous founders that do rug pulls. You know why? Because they don't want you to know who they are. They don't want to put their face to it. You know why they don't want to put their face to it? Because they know what their intentions are. A person doesn't come out and put their name and face on it and brag like Richard does with the intent of failing. That's just ridiculous.
Yep. Very true. And Bitboy has promoted projects of anonymous founders like Pamp, which he was paid to do. So I don't know. I guess maybe you could make an argument that he's changed his ways and stuff.
No.
Okay,
he's still running the same business model that crypto space runs.
No, I think he did stop taking money though. I think he did stop.
Yeah.
But it's like easy. Now he's rich and he's the biggest person. Like, okay, you stop taking money. What really matters to me is when you don't have a lot of money and you still refuse it. Like once
what was your empire built on?
Exactly.
The blood of your followers.
Exactly. Like what does it matter? Like once you're a rich man that you could stop taking money, like very good. But it shows who you really are when you're not a rich man. Yeah, let's play this because we got to get to your reaction.
So he's got a lot of money. So I'm not saying I have the answer to these questions, but these are the quick questions people ask about it. People putting money in, got a new project, or putting money in a new project. There's a lot of things about it that if it wasn't Richard Hart and I didn't tend to like him, I would probably call it a Ponzi and be very against it. It's got a lot of hallmarks.
Are you a Hexican?
What's that?
Are you a Hexican?
Well, here's what I'll tell you guys. What I'll tell you is, yes, my recording. Can you take it down? Oh, is this? I can't.
That's another Hexican of mine.
Look, I will say this. This is what I will say. I will say there are some coins that we are going to be adding to our portfolio.
There you go.
That I never thought we would add to our portfolio.
All right.
Okay, what's your reaction to that statement?
My reaction is he's probably already owned HEX this whole time. He just ain't going to tell you.
There are coins that we're adding to our portfolio that I would have never thought we would add to our portfolio.
He had HEX before. He sold it. He made $60,000 on it.
Yeah.
He sold it sub-cent and made $60,000 on it.
And he sacked. He sacked for Pulse.
And he sacked for Pulse, yeah. So, no, you know what I think? I'll tell you what I think. I think Ben's other sponsors would not be happy or appreciative if he talked about HEX, and he would probably lose some of those contracts. That's what I think.
But to be fair, I think
Crypto Mason already lost his sponsorship with Binance as a result of mentioning HEX. And I think that's the same thing. I think some of these people are under non-disclosure clauses, and I think they are not allowed to talk about certain things or lose their sponsorships, and they cannot talk about it, and they can't say it, because if they do, they will lose those sponsorships. In fact, I know certain people have been under contract to not talk about HEX. Okay? But again, if I expose that, then that exposes their non-disclosure clause, and then people might be able to put that together and figure out who that might be. But that's true, okay? And I think Ben might be in the same situation.
That's why he did ask them to turn the cameras off. You could tell he was like very, very uncomfortable. And I guess as he should be.
There's three options, right? He's either being terribly disingenuous, okay? He's beholden to his sponsors and under a non-compete clause, or he really is that stupid. And I don't believe he really is that stupid, because he's actually quite a smart guy. It's actually a little depressing to me, because he is that, he's done a lot of work towards trying to get government regulation and writing a bill and trying to get crypto stuff approved, and trying to work in the corner of that. But then again, let's look at this realistically. That isn't also in his best interest as a crypto holder to do that. So regardless of whether we give him a pat on the back and a handshake, he's still going to do that because that's in his best interest. And, he's built his business off doing things that are in his best interest. And if it's in his best interest to be beholden to sponsors and not talk about HEX, because HEX isn't paying anybody, right?
Yeah.
So he's not getting a paycheck for talking about HEX. And most people don't go to work if they don't get a paycheck, right? So, you have to look at it from his perspective. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not interested in any of these mainstream influencers. I know what the game is. I don't think you learn anything there. And I have been greatly disappointed. I'm disappointed in myself that I used to follow these people and think that they had good intentions in mind just because they have smiling faces and they talk in an upbeat voice and you believe that they have your best intentions in mind. They don't. They're there. That's their job. It's their business. They're going to do what they feel is necessary to make their income, and that's what they're going to do, right? So I don't believe that we need them, because I think eventually people are going to realize that you can look at any one of these influencers' last 10 calls And then you could look at you could look at the HEX chart, and you can realize who you should be listening to in about 10 minutes. And you know who you should be ignoring in about 10 minutes. But if you are unwilling to take the time to bother, I mean, because what do, dude? They actually depend on your ignorance and your laziness to take them at their word. That's what they depend on. They depend on your trust and your ignorance and your you know, to not ask questions. What do hexagons teach you? Ask the questions. Ask for the data. Don't trust, verify. You need to confirm. You need to know who it is that you're getting this information from. Look at their last 10 calls. Hold them to it. Accountability.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say. There's not much to add on. I guess the question though is like, when will they start talking about it? I said when Hex becomes a blue chip, because they talk about other blue chips that they're not, because it's safe at that point, you know, and they talk about other blue chips that
no, they'll never call Hex a blue chip, and they're starting to talk about it now because that's where the engagement is. You know,
but they stay neutral, but they're neutral. So like, when is it like full force? Like, I love Richard Hart. I love Hex.
What I think you're going to start seeing is you're seeing the walls cave. You're starting to see exchanges listing. You're starting to see people go to the neutral zone. They can't just do a 180, right? They are trying to save face wherever they can because they've been wrong for so long. They have to kind of migrate, and they have to start going, you know, this Richard guy, you know, I know people don't like him, but, you know, he's been kind of right about this. You know, there's this other thing where he's kind of right. You know, I think I'm starting to like this Richard guy. It's going to be a transition, right? They can't just do a 180 and say, you know, oh yeah, love the guy, always loved the guy, always believed in him. I mean, there are going to be some that try that, and it's going to be absolutely ridiculous because they're going to be like, you know, totally contradicting. But some of the influencers, man, they can flip a switch. They can just flip a switch. No, I never said that. Look, I deleted all my old tweets. I never said that. But here's the problem. We have it documented.
Okay.
We have it all documented. That's the problem. It's going to come back up. So you might as well just admit you were wrong and, you know, eat the crow. Otherwise, you're going to get bombarded because all of this has been documented. All of it's been recorded. Every hater, every thread, you've ended up in our videos. You've been quoted. You've ended up in the Furu eulogy. You know, I mean, you know, these, you know, music videos. I mean, it's all been documented. And the thing is, in any other condition, they could have been right because 99% of the time, things fail in crypto, right? So they had a 99% chance of being right. And so be it. This is the 1% that they were wrong. And they doubled down and doubled down and doubled down to where they are so deep in the hole right now that it's almost impossible to dig themselves out. And we have been documenting and screenshotting everything. We're going to hold you accountable. You know, it's going to be held accountable. Ben absolutely can't stand me because I pointed out the fact that, you know, the business model of the crypto space has always been sponsorships and such. And that's his job. I'm talking ill of his job.
Yeah, dude, if I were him, I'd hit you too.
Yeah, you should, you know. But I'm not interested in that kind of job. But I don't think people getting into crypto and getting directed to ship projects that go down and having a bad experience in crypto makes the crypto space better. It might make some people rich because they're the ones directing the traffic, but I don't think it makes the crypto space better. I want people to have a good experience in crypto so that they can stay. It's why I've spent my time trying to get people to hold on their bags and not being weak hands so that they have the opportunity to do this next run up because they didn't know that it was coming. But if you look at the HEX chart, dude, we've been down 85%. We've been down 70%. This just happens to be one more dip. It just happened to last a little longer than the last couple, right? And this is just how it goes. And they're not experienced enough to do that. So, you know, I spend a lot of time trying to calm people down because I don't want them to have a bad experience in crypto. I don't want them to tap out before it has a chance to get good, you know? So I don't have to do this. I'm not making any money. I don't have to click the links. I don't have to show up. I don't got to talk to nobody. I don't have any sponsorships. I don't have any courses to sell you. I don't even have any damn coins to sell you because I'm staked out. Okay, so what do I got to gain here? Except other than showing up so that I could get trolls throw mud at me and bitch at me and tell me I'm stupid or I'm a sheep or I'm a cult member or whatever else garbage I got for the past 3 years. You know, it's been pathetic.
A cult member that became a multi-millionaire in
Yeah.
a very short period of time. I'll take it. I can't wait to be that kind of cult member.